Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of November. I want to talk about the Sacred Heart and the return of the Sacred Female. And this will only happen if we are able to distinguish between good and bad. And that will only happen where the true seed of judgment actually is. And it is not out there. It is within us. God did write the law on 2 stone tablets, yes. But where it should truly be written is within our hearts. That law should be written within our hearts. And we should say, think, and do according to it. And I want to show you how we're being driven into the wilderness and how we are at a point where we need to make a decision. And I think one of the main factors in making the correct decision is actually understanding this book and what it says to you. I watched a video yesterday, and the title was, "Why Did God Destroy the Amorites?" And justification was being brought. And I want to show you what actually happened there and how the law of intention, the intention justified the means, and it put itself above the sacred law that should be in the heart, the knowledge of good and bad. Now in the video, there was one Bible verse that I wasn't aware of before, but this is utterly important. And that's in Romans. And this is what Paul says about the Gentiles. Now listen to this. That is Romans 2, verse 14 and 15. "When the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are the law unto themselves." They are not aware of the law, but they're doing it naturally because it is contained within them. They are the embodiment of that law. Yeah? And then it says, which shew the work, so the Gentiles, which shew the work of the law written in their heart. For them, it's written in the heart. It's not out there on stone tablets, it's in their heart. So, which shew the works of the law written in their heart, their conscience also bearing witness. Their conscience is functioning according to the law. So their conscience is bearing witness, and their thought, the thought also, while accusing or excusing each other. That is, whilst they are in judgment of each other, they do so according to the law in the heart naturally. And it shows. It shows in their works, it shows in what they do. So if the Gentiles were the natural embodiment of the law, then what was that greater thing that Paul was going to introduce them to? So let's get back to why God destroyed the Amorites. And in the video it was justified by, and it was most likely the justification back then as well. He said that an Irish archaeologist in 1902 found the cities of the Amorites. He found the high places, and he found altars on which children had been sacrificed. He found bones of young females, mostly females, all over the place. Very young children that had been brutally killed. And there, the Hebrews were led up against the Amorites. And I would say that was the justification, and it spoke to the law of the heart, which would say, yes, that is horribly wrong. Something needs to be done about it. So here we have problem, reaction, solution. Yeah? So the problem is what the Amorites are doing. The reaction, when it is brought to the law of our heart, is for justice. This is unjust, justice must be done, and then comes the solution. And this is where a different law comes in. Whereas the law of our heart is love your neighbor as yourself, the law of the solution that has been given to them is the outcome will justify the means. And that is the law of intentions, that we are keep being driven over. That's corporate law. And that elevates itself above common law. So let me show you what happened, what they actually did then, after being, becoming angry in wrath against the idol worshippers that killed their children. So what they did is, and this is in Deuteronomy, and that is 2 verse 33 and 34. So the Lord brought the king of the Amorites before them. And the Lord our God delivered him before us, and we smote him and his sons and all his people. And we took all his cities at the time and utterly destroyed the men, women, and the little ones of every city. We left no one to remain. They killed all the children in every city. They left none alive. So if the injustice that spoke to the heart at the beginning spoke about the children, and the intention led them, the solution led them to kill everything, then did the solution serve the law of the heart? Or did it put itself above it? And was it ever about the children to start with? Whatever led them, was that actually concerned about the children to start with? Or should the outcome work something else? I was listening to Neil Oliver. He was talking about what's going on at the moment, the war in the Ukraine, the whole climate change thing, the pandemic, and what happened there. And he said that at times this whole thing felt almost religious. That's because it is. That's because it is. And that is why a Jonathan Cahn can relate what is happening now to what happened before, because they are replaying the same script over and over again. They're given it new forms, but we are playing the same story, and we keep following the wrong law. So what is happening, for instance, in Ukraine at the moment, and our conscience is being appealed to. Yeah, our knowledge of love your neighbor as yourself is being appealed to. They're appealing to our law. Yeah, and our reaction is that there is an injustice and that the people of the Ukraine are suffering. What is the solution that is going to be brought to us in the end? Will we nuke a city of 13 million inhabitants, to put this right? And the same with climate change. The law of our heart is being appealed to, the seat of judgment is being appealed to. And we love nature and we want to save this planet. again, the solutions that were being offered, are they about saving the planet, or do they create their own laws and then serve something else? The laws they create do not actually serve saving nature, but they serve something else. Same with the pandemic, when we have been driven into fear and wanting to save ourselves, and self is part of your neighbor and yourself. And again, the law of our heart is being appealed to. Save yourself, yes, as well. And again, that's the solution. Serve God. Serve the one true God that is within you. But we've been told in the way that we are being taught in the churches that this is all one. This book is all one. And we've been deliberately taught not to see the difference and not being able to distinguish. This book should tell you to be able to distinguish between the two. Between the true God inside of your heart that resides within you and his judgment. To distinguish between that and what drives you into an outcome. You're being deliberately taught in a way so that you cannot distinguish, that you cannot even see the difference. As I said, we are at a crossroads, we are close to destruction, and it's these stories that are being worked on us. That's why it feels religious. And there's also a greater decision to be made. I mean that like the Ukraine, those will be battles on the way. The new pandemics, they will be battles on the way. The greater outcome will be something that rules over this world. And again, in the forms we're being told where we're deciding between the technocrats, technology, and our true spiritual selves. But we are not, the way to choose the outcome is in the very first instant by following the correct law. That is the beginning, that is the root from which everything else will happen. And therefore we must understand good and bad and where the seat of judgment truly is, and revert back to the way the Gentiles were, where they were the natural embodiment of the Sacred Heart, of the 10 Commandments written in the heart, and that their conscience and what they did was a true reflection of what was written in their heart. It was not one law is written inside of my heart, but I do and follow another law. And this is what we say. We say one law for them and for us another. This is the meaning of what we're saying. Our law should be written in our heart. That is the Sacred Heart, the seat of judgment, the home of God, the true God. And there shall be none before him or above him. This is what we need to understand in order to make the right choices. We have been driven to the point of destruction, and why have they not done it yet? They're waiting for us to submit to their solutions, to their laws. They're waiting for us to be ready to submit. They haven't done it yet because not enough people are ready to do it. But once that happens, we will have made a choice. The return of the sacred female is the return of reason. That is according to the Sacred Heart. That is the female that realizes her true husband. Reason that does according to the true law. And that is the state we were in as Gentiles before Paul introduced us to this glorious higher understanding. And we are calling good evil and evil good. I think I shall leave it at this for today. If you think that this is important, please do share my videos. And if you want to help me, which would be greatly appreciated, I really can do with some help here. Please donate to this channel. You will find the donate button in the corner of my homepage. I leave it at that. Humanity must know where the choice actually is, where the root of all choices actually is, and then do according to it, stand up for it. We must. And then we will be the ones that we're waiting for. The sacred female, sacred reason will have returned to the Sacred Heart. Anyway, I leave it at that, and I talk to you again sometime. Bye.